So somewhere between 5 and 10, right?
6 to 11, Maharaj. 6 to 11.
So this is fitting that they came in, chanted the Sri prayers. 6 to 11, 5 to 10. And what was the age of the children in Connecticut?
5 to 7. It was 5 to 7.
Elementary school, 5 to 10. Elementary school goes to 4th grade, no? So, 10 years. That's what I heard. Interesting. So, I'm sure everybody's heard so much about it, and maybe some are fed up, thinking this, I've had this in my face for 3 days, all over the newspapers, all over the TV, internet. And I go to the Hare Krishna temple for some respite, and I have to hear about this again. So we hope that if you bear with us another half an hour or so of this hearing, that we hope to be able to help make some sense of this merely one among so many tragedies happening almost on a weekly basis these days in this country. I read more than one person say, this has got to stop, this has got to stop, this has got to stop. It reminds me of when you drive through the school district and you see drug-free zone. Anyone seen that? They have a sign? This is a drug-free zone. So what does that mean? They think you put a sign up and it's going to stop people from bringing drugs there? What's their philosophy? What's their logic? Is that what they think? So they think that by saying this is going to stop, it's going to stop. Who says? So at the same time, I'm really hoping that this presentation this evening does not remind everyone of something we might hear from some of the current day religious leaders or political leaders. Like I just read some comment by the Mr. Huckabee. Is he in the Senate or Congress? Or he was almost ran for president a few years ago. You remember him, Huckabee, from the Deep South? What is he? What's his position?
Newscaster.
No.
On the television. On the television program.
That's all?
He was a TV program, yeah. He was a TV program. Something.
He's not a politician anymore?
No.
Not in active politics, no.
Oh. So anyway, his statement was that, you know, like you always hear this every time something happens, Katrina, or this, disaster, that, tragedy, from especially our Christian brother leaders, that this is because of God was not there, you know, and God is punishing. Someone said that about Katrina, because too many gays there in New Orleans. You know, one of the Christian, I forget what, he was a famous person. So this Huckabee, he says that this is proof because they took God out of the schools. And they don't allow children to pray in the schools, in the public schools. So therefore there's no protection. So in one sense, I think we would probably agree with that. And if you play it out, we would probably agree with that, but there has to be a lot of asterisks to that statement. It has to be seen in context and really explained why that is so. So I would propose that it's really not that simple. If we know anything about the laws of karma, and social trends, it's a little bit difficult to make that statement stick just by itself. So I would just like to begin by reading one of these articles that came to my attention, and then after that we'll hopefully turn to Bhagavad Gita, and maybe even you'll hear something about Krishna tonight. So this will take a few minutes. A gold plaque hangs next to a bullet hole in a Sikh temple in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, where a lone gunman killed 6 worshippers and injured 3 others last August. It is engraved with the words, "We are one." It frames the wound, says Pardeep Kalika, the son of former temple president Satwan Singh Kalika, who died in the massacre. The wound of our community, the wound of our family, the wound of our society. In the past week, that wound has been ripped open with, unquote, in the past week, that wound has been ripped open with shocking ferocity. The reporter said that. In what has become sickeningly familiar, gunmen opened fire on innocents in what should be the safest of places. First, the shopping mall in Oregon. Of course, if you back up again to the Sikh temple, you would think that would be safe too, right? The temple, the shopping mall, and then you think of the elementary school in Connecticut. I don't know if you heard, but just today, maybe the same day, I think that evening, in Indiana, some man made some threat to his wife, and in a fit of rage, told her he was going to kill her, and he was going to go to the school and kill as many children as he could. And the police took it seriously, came to his house. This was in Indiana. I think it was Friday evening after this, Connecticut. Police came to his house, searched, and they found 47 guns. So, for every one of these things that happen, we don't know how many almost happen. Once again, there were scenes of chaos as rescuers and media descended on the scene. Once again, there were pictures of weeping survivors clutching one another, of candlelight vigils and teddy bears left as loving memorials. Once again, a chorus of pundits debated gun control and violence. The society attempted to make sense of the senseless. Are there any sanctuaries left? Kalika asked. Is this a fact of life? One we have become content to live with? Can we no longer feel safe going Christmas shopping in a mall? Or to the temple? Or to the movies? What kind of society have we become? Unquote. As this year of the gun lurches to a close, leaving a bloody wake, we're left to wonder, along with Kalika, what is the meaning of all this? So if there's anything, any bright side to tragedies happening, this is it. What is the meaning to all this? And verily, Sri Vyasadeva himself begins Vedanta Sutra, the culmination, the summary of all Vedic knowledge in the same way. He says, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now I have this human form of life, and I have enough intelligence and clarity of consciousness that I can understand I'm suffering. Why? What is going on? What is the purpose behind this? That I don't want to suffer, but I'm suffering. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. That is the beginning of human life. That is the beginning of human life. So that is the bright side of the suffering. Like it is said, Smasan Bharagya. Prabhupada used to quote this. You know? Can you say, who says? Can someone say, what does that mean? Maybe I'm not saying it right. Smasana Bharagya. It must be a different name, different word, maybe Bengali. I think so. So it means the renunciation which comes, the detachment, vairagya, which comes at the cremation plant, or the funeral parlor. See, for at least that one day, they burn the body, or they put it in the ground, and everyone is thinking about the meaning of life. Oh, everyone has to die. My friend, my father, they died. This is maybe a fact of life. Maybe I should think about things. Why is this happening? And then by the time they get to the dinner, a couple hours later, they start drinking, they forget about the whole thing. In commemoration of the loved, deceased loved one. Our minds are very shallow, in other words. What is the meaning of all this? Even before Portland and Newtown, we saw a former student kill 7 people in Oikos University in Oakland, California. We saw gunmen in Seattle and Minneapolis each kill 5 people and then themselves. We saw the midnight premiere, The Dark Knight Rises, at a theater in Aurora, Colorado, devolve into a bloodbath. As 12 people died, and 58 were wounded. 24-year-old James Holmes was arrested outside. And yet those who study mass shootings say they are not becoming more common. Interesting. Quote, there is a pattern. There is no pattern. There is no increase, says criminologist James Allen, who's been studying since 1980s the subject, spurred by rash massive shootings in post offices. The random mass shootings that get the most media attention are the rarest. Fox says most people who die of bullet wounds knew the identity of their killer. Yeah, like the football player, Kansas City Chiefs, who killed the mother of his child after an argument, and he went to the stadium and thanked the coach, and then put the gun to his head. And the fellow who, well, actually in Connecticut, was also involved. The mother knew. She was the first one who killed. That's where he got the guns from her. Turned on his own mother. And just a week or 2 earlier, the fellow who went with the bow went to the university in Casper, Wyoming, was it? And went to the classroom and shot his father, and then a couple of other people. So they certainly knew who the killer was. So it was killing the mother and father, killing the wife. There's no rules anymore. But this isn't going on in every country around the world, by the way. At least we don't hear about it. I can't imagine how we wouldn't hear about it if it was going on. And we're supposed to be the most productive and advanced and the highest per capita and this and that. And, you know. So what does it mean? Society moves on, he says, because of our ability to distance ourselves from the horror of the day. And because people believe that these tragedies are, quote, one of the unfortunate prices we pay for our freedoms. And then they give some data to back up his claim that actually it went down for a few decades and going up again, it seems, since 2000. Chances of being killed in a mass shooting, he says, are probably no greater than being struck by lightning. Still, he understands the public perception, the extensive media coverage. Mass shootings occur in places like malls and schools. Quote, there's this feeling that could have been me. So now we're getting a little hint of how to understand this, about what is the meaning of this. That's why I picked this article out. It has a little bit more than just your reporting, you know. There's this feeling that it could have been me because in the theater, in mall. Okay, so it's hitting close to home, right? It makes so much more. It makes it so much more frightening. On one spring day more than 4 years ago, it was Colin Goddard. For 2 years after a gunman pumped 4 bullets into him in a classroom at Virginia Tech. Goddard said he couldn't bear to listen to television reports about other shootings or read about them. It brought him back instantly to that day, April 07, when he lay on the floor of classroom 211, blood dripping from his shoulder and leg, as he wondered if he would survive. And then in April 2009, he turned on the computer and heard the news. 41-year-old man had opened fire at an immigrant community center in Binghamton, New York, killing 11 immigrants and 2 workers. The shooter, Vietnamese immigrant and a former student at the center, killed himself as police rushed to the scene. Goddard watched, riveted, realizing that this is what it was like for the rest of the world when a mass shooting occurs. So he was one of the victims, and he couldn't understand what it's like to just hear about it as a spectator, so to speak. Inside the school or the mall or the theater, the victims lie wounded and terrified and dying, while the rest of the world watches from afar. People glue themselves to the television for one day. They soak in the horror from the safety of their office or home. They feel awful for a while. Then they move on with their lives. They grow numb. So this is the word that caught my attention. They grow numb. Jew says the cycle has gone on for generations. Quote, mass shootings provoke instant debates about violence and guns and mental health. That's been the case since Charles Whitman climbed a tower at the University of Texas in 1966. Most of you weren't even living. We're not in this country. Referring to the engineering student, a former Marine who killed 13 people and wounded 32 others on campus. Quote, it becomes mind-numbingly repetitive. Mind-numbingly repetitive. Mind-numbingly repetitive. This is John Harris, who's from UA in Tucson. He says, rampage violence seems to lead to repeated cycles of anguish, investigation, recrimination, and heated debate, with little real progress in prevention. These types of events can lead to despair about their inevitability and unpredictability. And then there is despair and frustration, even among those who have set out to stop mass killings. We do just seem to slog along from one tragedy to the next. Tom Mouser said last July, after the Aurora shootings, Mouser knows all about the slog. He became an outspoken activist against such violence after his 15-year-old son was slain along with 12 others at Columbine High School in 1999. But he has grown frustrated and weary. There was a time when I felt a certain guilt, said Moser. I'd ask, why can't I do more about this? Why haven't I dedicated myself more to it? But I'll be damned if I'm going to put it all on my shoulders. This, he said, is all of our problem. Okay? The father of this boy who was killed in Columbine tried for decades to, or maybe a decade too. activate, do something about it, but he's concluding it's all of our problem. And this is what I want to get to this evening. Carolyn McCarthy enlisted in the cause in 1993 when a deranged gunman killed her husband and seriously injured her son in a shooting rampage. She has served in Congress since 1997. Known as a gun lady on Capitol Hill for her fierce championship of gun control laws, McCarthy says she nearly gave up her lonely crusade after hearing about the Virginia Tech shooting. And when she heard about the 2011 shooting, the former U.S. Republican Gabrielle Giffords, she said, "I just sat there frozen and watching the television, could not stop crying." It's like a cancer in our society, she says. And if we keep doing nothing to stop it, it's only going to spread. After the Binghamton shootings, Colin Goddard resolved he had to get involved. Somehow try to stop the cycle. Reminders are lodged inside him. 3 bullets, a legacy of Virginia Tech. He now works in Washington for the Brady campaign to prevent gun violence. He said, "I refuse to believe this is something we have to accept as normal in this country. There has to be a way to change the culture of violence in our society." So here's the 4 key words that really struck me. The first one was that people grow numb and move on with their lives. It becomes mind-numbingly repetitive. And then Macaulay said, "This is all our problem." Mouser, "This is all of our problem." And the next, "This is like a cancer in our society." And lastly, there has to be a way to change the culture of violence in the society. So we propose that Bhagavad Gita has teachings which can enlighten us as to the way to change the culture in the society and make the body of society healthy such that the cancer cells don't take over and destroy that body from within. And it's all got to do with waking up numbed out consciousnesses, or the enlightenment. Like Prabhupada would say that consciousness means Krishna consciousness. If we are really conscious, we will be conscious of God. Because everything is within God, God is within everything. So if we're not conscious of God, we're not conscious. And likewise, on the other hand, to be